Lawyers, has the opposing counsel ever won the case for you? I was representing this tenant named Brooklyn who got sick from mold in her apartment. She developed really bad asthma and had to use an inhaler constantly. Her landlord refused to fix anything, so we sued for damages and medical bills. The landlord's attorney was this older guy who acted like he owned the courtroom. From day one, he treated Brooklyn like she was lying about everything. During depositions, he'd roll his eyes whenever she coughed or mentioned her breathing problems. So, you're saying you became a medical expert by Googling symptoms? He'd ask with this smirk. Did WebMD give you a medical degree too? Brooklyn would just sit there taking it, but I could see how frustrated she was getting. The guy objected to literally everything. If I asked what color the mold was, he'd object. If I asked when she first noticed it, he'd object. He was making this case way harder than it needed to be. The worst part was how he talked about Brooklyn's asthma. He kept calling it alleged respiratory issues and suggesting she was faking it for money. During one break, I heard him tell his assistant that tenants always make up health problems to get out of paying rent. We spent 3 days in court going nowhere. The landlord's attorney was blocking every piece of evidence we tried to present. He had objections ready before I even finished asking questions. I started wondering if we were going to lose this thing. Then came the moment that changed everything. I was asking the landlord about maintenance records, trying to establish a pattern of neglect. Pretty standard stuff. The landlord kept saying he'd never had mold problems before Brooklyn moved in. Have you ever paid for professional mold removal services at this property? I asked. Before the landlord could answer, his attorney shot up from his chair like someone had electrocuted him. That service was done before she moved in and wasn't related to this case, he shouted. The courtroom went dead silent. You could hear the air conditioning humming. The court reporter stopped typing and looked up. Even the bailiff raised an eyebrow. I just stared at him. My brain was trying to process what had just happened. Did he really just admit there was prior mold treatment? So there was black mold in the unit previously? I asked, trying not to sound too excited. The defense attorney's face went white. He started stammering, trying to walk it back. I misspoke. What I meant was hypothetically, if there had been treatment, it would have been unrelated to, but it was too late. The judge leaned forward and asked for clarification. The landlord looked like he wanted to disappear into his chair. His attorney kept glancing at the exit like he was planning his escape route. Your Honor, I need to review the maintenance records, the judge said during recess. That's when everything fell apart for them. Turns out the landlord had paid for mold remediation twice in the past 5 years. He'd lied on inspection forms and never disclosed it to tenants. The attorney's outburst had opened a door we never would have found otherwise. When court resumed, the judge was not happy. She asked the landlord directly about the previous mold treatments. He tried to claim it was just preventative maintenance, but the receipts told a different story. Professional remediation companies don't get called for routine cleaning. Brooklyn started crying when she realized what this meant. All those months of struggling to breathe, thinking she was crazy or weak, and it turns out the landlord knew there was a mold problem the whole time. The defense attorney looked like he was going to be sick. He kept whispering to his client, probably trying to figure out how to fix the mess he'd made, but there was no fixing it. His big mouth had just handed us the case on a silver platter. The judge awarded Brooklyn triple damages for the landlord's willful concealment. Medical bills, moving expenses, pain and suffering, everything we'd asked for, and more. The final amount was enough to cover Brooklyn's treatment and help her start over somewhere safe.